Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Town Council meeting to order for Tuesday, October 5th. If you'll all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you can please remain standing for a moment of silence for our men and women serving here and abroad. Thank you. You can have a seat. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Town Council meeting Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. Councillor Hume?
Here.
Councillor Ringus?
Here.
Councillor Ryan? I apologize. Councillor Ryan, could you just state that again, please?
Here.
Thank you. Councillor Flaherty? Here. Councillor Sasha?
Here.
Councillor Connors?
Councillor Connors.
Here.
Councillor O'Brien?
Present.
Councillor Barrica?
Here.
Councillor Mackin?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have three councilors remote tonight. All votes will be via roll call. Moving on to announcements. The Nelson Chin Memorial Golf Tournament is less than 2 weeks away. It is being held Friday, October 15th at Braintree Municipal Golf Course. We are sold out for golfers. However, they are still looking, if you're interested in any type of sponsorship or donating a raffle or auction item, they can be reached at the Nelson Chin Memorial Fund at gmail.com. That's the Nelson Chin Memorial Fund at gmail.com. The family set up this fund to remember Nelson and to give back to the community. All the funds raised through this fundraiser are going back to the Braintree community in the form of scholarships for students, for special needs, for local charitable organizations, and all the things that were near and dear to Nelson's heart. And the committee and family and friends are very appreciative of the outpouring of support so far. It has been overwhelming, which is no doubt that this has been the response, because Nelson was a huge part of the Braintree community. There was not one activity, one organization, one event that Nelson was either a part of or involved in or volunteered or did something to help somebody out, but he was everywhere in this community. So when you think of Braintree, you can't help but think of Nelson. So thank you to everyone for their support so far for that. I know Councilor Barrica has a few announcements.
Looking ahead, the Joshua K. Foundation will be installing a little free library on Thursday, October 14th at 4 p.m. in memory of Joshua K. That will be at the Marge Crispin Center, so all are welcome to attend that event, and the little free library there will be children's books. So that should be something to look forward to. And then looking back, I did want to let everyone know on September 22nd, the Braintree Partnership held the annual Community Heroes Award Dinner. That's honoring those in our community who make contributions to substance use prevention, support, and recovery. So I'd like to recognize, and for those who weren't able to attend this year's meeting, just announce those recipients. Braintree residents Ginny and Don Harrington of the Family Restored, Braintree resident Ryan O'Connell, who recently opened a sober living home in Quincy, Chris Driscoll O'Neill and her team at One Life at a Time, which is a Braintree organization providing employment training and opportunities, and Mary Ann Barrett. She's a Braintree resident, partnership member, and a parent. So congratulations to all, and thank you for your contributions to the town.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any announcements? Councilor Ringus, go ahead.
Not an announcement, but actually just I think a touch back. This past Saturday, Robin Bean and the Sunrise Foundation held their annual Beanstalk Music Festival. It was a family-friendly day to sort of raise money for the Sunrise Foundation, which provides support to residents of Braintree and other communities for issues related to substance use disorder. It was a great day. It ended with a very powerful candlelight vigil and video honoring those who have lost their lives to substance use disorder. But it was another great day, and I think a lot of money was raised for Robin and the Sunrise Foundation.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of minutes, September 7th, 2021. Is there a motion?
So moved, Madam President.
There's been a motion to approve the minutes by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Berica. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Councilor Berica.
Yes.
Councilor Connors.
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councilor Hume.
Aye.
Councilor Mackin.
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councilor Ringus.
Aye.
Councilor Ryan. He said aye. Sorry, didn't put on speaker. He said aye. Thank you. Councilor Sasha.
Yes.
That's 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous, thank you. Okay, we are going to take a few items out of order tonight, just because there are some signatures required if this passes. So we're going to take item 21049 up first under old business. This is approval of the 2020 census re-precincting plan. It was numbered from 02321, an overview of the preliminary 2020 census population numbers to this new order. We do have here with us tonight Clerk Casey, our town clerk, if you'd like to come up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For having me here. For me, this evening is akin to crossing the finish line at the Boston Marathon. I began this census project back on March 28, 2017, and now 4 years later, pushing myself down Boylston Street to the finish line is in my sights. This evening, I'll provide a top-level review of the population growth in Braintree since 2010, an ethnicity and racial review of Braintree's population, introduce the new precinct map and legal boundaries of the precincts and council action required to get me closer to that finish line. Since the 2010 census, Braintree's population grew by nearly 3,400 residents, from 35,744 to 39,143. Census guidelines require that each precinct be within 5 percentage points from the average target population of 3,262. The 2020 census map meets that criteria for each of the 12 precincts. 2020 U.S. Census data reveals the population in Massachusetts grew by nearly 500,000 residents since 2010. Just over 11% of this growth was recorded within the 28 Norfolk County communities. As mentioned earlier, the town of Braintree population grew from 35,744 residents to 39,143, and surprisingly, it ranks number 42 of the most populous communities in Massachusetts in 2020. There are 351 communities, and we rank right at the top of all of those communities. Demographically, about 2 out of 3 Massachusetts residents self-describe their race and ethnicity as white alone, not Hispanic, and that's down from 76.1% in 2010. Total Massachusetts minority population grew to 32.4% this past decade, with growth across all racial and ethnicity groups. Black or African American alone, non-Hispanic at 6.5%, Asian alone, non-Hispanic at 7.2%, Hispanic of any race at 12.
Excuse me, Clerk Kate, can you just speak into the mic?
Oh,
Cam's
I'm
having
sorry.
trouble hearing you.
Hispanic alone of any race at 5.2% for the state, and flat across all other minority groups. For Braintree, a significant change in the racial ethnicity makeup of the town was recorded over the last decade, with growth in minority population at 29.4% versus 14.8% in 2010. This was driven by a near doubling of the Asian alone non-Hispanic population, 17.2% versus 7.5%, and Hispanic of any race at 4.8% versus 2.5%. Other minority groups showed slight growth decade to decade. Last week, members received documents relating to comments just completed. This evening, members were provided with legal descriptions of each precinct boundary and a copy of a revised vote, which requires a majority of members' signatures. Upon receiving the signatures tonight, I will be taking it to the mayor for his signature. And tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., I'll be attending a hearing with the state census group to answer any questions they may have relative to the changes in the 2020 precinct boundaries. At this time, I would like to thank the many town employees who have contributed to this project these past 4 years. In the state's 2020 census team, including our own Mike Owens, former District 5 councilor, for their guidance and assistance in bringing this project to the finish line. Madam President, I return the meeting back to you to answer any questions, comments from the council members or the general public.
Thank you, Clerk Casey. Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion, Councilor Ringus?
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that we, the Town Council, approve Order 21049, Town Clerk, approval of 2020 Census Re-Precincting Plan as submitted.
There's been a motion. Second. By Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Councilor Baraka.
Yes.
Councilor Connors.
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty.
Yes. Yes.
Councilor Hume.
Aye.
Councilor Mackin.
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien.
Present.
Councilor Ringus.
Aye.
Councilor Ryan.
Aye.
Councilor Sasha. Yes. 8 in favor, 1 present.
Okay, thank you very much. So there is a document circulating around those who are present. If you could please sign it. Okay, we're going to take another item. Clerk Casey, if you just want to stay right there. Item under new business 21047, the town clerk called to local general election for the November 2nd, 2021. Order 21047 was listed under new business at the September 21st, 2020 meeting, so therefore we can move on to action tonight because it is not same night action. So I will turn it over to you for any comments. Clerk Casey.
Basically, what you have before you is a simple vote. It's a required vote to be taken by this council and approve the council to authorize me to operate the election and to present the candidates to the voters of the town of Braintree.
Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion, Councilor Ringus?
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that upon the request of the town clerk, the town of Braintree, through the Braintree Town Council, it's so ordered that in the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the town of Braintree is hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town who are qualified to vote in the regular town election on Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. to vote at the polling places in their respective voting centers and/or voting precincts for the following purpose: to cast their votes on the official ballot for 3 councilors at large for a term of 2 years, 6 district councilors for a term of 2 years, 3 school committee members for a term of 4 years, 4 trustees of the Thayer Public Library for a term of 4 years, 2 municipal lighting board members for a term of 4 years, and 1 housing authority member for a term of 4 years.
Thank you. It's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Baraka.
Yes.
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councilor Hume.
Aye.
Councilor Mackin.
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councilor Ringus.
Aye.
Councilor Ryan.
Aye.
Councilor Sasha. Yes. 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you. That is unanimous. Okay, we're going to get back
Thank
to...
you. Madam President, one more election item.
Go ahead.
I just received notice prior to this evening's meeting from the ballot printer that the ballots will be shipped starting on Friday. I expect to receive them on Tuesday morning, and anyone interested in voting by absentee ballot, they're welcome to come into Braintree Town Hall where they can cast their vote, or if anybody wants to receive a vote-by-mail ballot, complete an application, get it into my office, and we will mail that right out to them right away, beginning on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's get back to the agenda for our old business, item 21028. The mayor ordinance to establish an anti-blight program or take up any action related thereto. We're looking to continue to table this to our next meeting if the vote so goes that way. Councilor Ringus, is there a motion to continue to table order 21028 to our October 19th, 2021 meeting?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Council Baraka,
Yes.
Council Connors,
Councilor Connors.
Council Flaherty,
Yes.
Council Hume,
Aye.
Councilor Mackin,
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien,
Aye.
Councilor Ringus,
Aye.
Councilor Ryan,
Aye.
Councilor Sasha.
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, Clerk Semino. Moving on to item 21043, the mayor, CPA appropriation. The request for appropriation improvement design services at Hollis Field and Watson Park, or take up any action relative thereto. This is a public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on order 21043?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
This is to open the public hearing. Councilor Baraka,
Yes.
Councilor Connors,
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty,
Yes.
Councilor Hume,
Aye.
Councilor Mackin, Councilor O'Brien,
Aye.
Councilor Ringus,
Aye.
Councilor Ryan,
Aye.
Councilor Sasha.
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Public hearing is open, and I will refer to Councilor Baraka, who is the chairwoman of the Committee on Ways and Means, for your recommendation to the full council.
Thank you very much, President Hume. The Ways and Means Committee met last week, and we are sending this to the full council with what I think it's safe to say is an enthusiastic, unanimous, favorable recommendation. We did have a robust discussion during our committee meeting last week, so let the full council and members of the public in on some of the noteworthy points from that discussion. So first, this appropriation is only for design services at these two parks. So to set expectations, the funding to complete the project will require a separate initiative once the design work is finished and accepted. That amount is unknown right now until the design work is sort of phase one of the project. The second item of discussion was that the focus is primarily on baseball diamonds. The mayor's office assured us a more comprehensive town-wide field plan will be forthcoming, and the committee was in agreement that the needs at Hollis and Watson Park are pressing enough that this project should not be delayed while we wait for the full playing field plan. And then finally, back on December 17th of 2019, the council approved funding to convert the Winfield Adams Ball Field to a 50-70 field. To date, this funding has not been expended. So in light of our discussion around improving the baseball fields, a request was made by the committee for an update on the plan for expending those funds and the upgrading of that park. So that is the report from Ways and Means, and again, unanimous favorable recommendation.
Thank you, Councilor Baraka. Anybody from the mayor's office wish to speak on this?
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, members of the council. Before I address the motion, I would just like to recognize a couple folks that are here with us this evening with regards to this request. We have Steve Leary from the mayor's office, Chris Griffin, Acting Recreation and Community Events Coordinator, Melissa Santucci-Razzi, Director of Planning and Community Development, Kelly PHELAN, Conservation Planner, and then specific to this request, Tom Martin, who chairs the Baseball Steering Committee, is here with us this evening. He was also with us at the committee meeting on Zoom, and we have Laura Lee Willard, who is the Vice President of East Braintree Little League, also joined us at the Ways and Means meeting and is here with us again this evening. So thank you very much to everybody that came out tonight in support of this incredibly worthy expenditure. As was mentioned, this is just the beginning of the mayor's plan to take a comprehensive townwide look at all of our fields and address some of the deficiencies and shortages that we're facing, not just for baseball, but for other youth sports, including soccer, football, lacrosse, and field hockey. So this is just the beginning. There was a 2019 appropriation that was raised at the committee, and so the update on that is that appropriation was made prior to the decision to take a comprehensive town-wide look. So the decision has been made to likely release those funds back into community preservation and address that particular field as part of a larger plan with future funding requests. But at this time, it was determined that the needs at Hollis and Watson were the most significant and those warranting the most immediate action. And so we are requesting approval of the appropriation in the amount of $90,000 from the Open Space and Recreation Fund to support, as was mentioned, strictly the design services for this project, which includes not just the fields, but also parking lot expansion at Watson Park. And so with that, I would welcome any questions, either for myself or for those that are here with us this evening who are far greater experts at baseball than I am, and I'm sure would also like to get home to watch tonight's wild card game. Thank you.
Any of the committee members want to speak on this? Now's your chance. Come on up. Please.
Wasn't prepared to speak, but I was the head of the steering committee, but it's really representing, Braintree Babe Ruth Baseball, Braintree American Little League, East Braintree Little League, and also voices from Senior Babe Ruth, which is part of us, and also Braintree Bandits, which is for profit. But I mean, it's not really for profit, but it's for paid for baseball. But they utilize the properties as well, and considerations of what the high school needs are, because they work around us. They actually sometimes give up time that they need for their school properties because we have no place else to play but on the properties, the high school, which are a challenge in themselves, and we indirectly feel like cause challenges for them because they secede fields to us and they have a lot of rain and drainage problems. So it's a real group effort, and it was pretty, I guess, ubiquitous that everybody was in agreement of what we're asking to be, being asked to be accomplished. At the same time, being a very active sports member, coach, and very involved in a lot of the different programs, the opportunity to maybe utilize the demand for an immediate need for baseball, that in the bigger picture, planning joint facilities to solve some of the known problems with soccer shortages, field hockey, lacrosse. I'm hoping the town comes up with, a well thought out master plan that actually might take spending a little extra money at the beginning, but will save a lot of money in the end for maintenance. So I just want to say, this wasn't taken lightly, and I think that we got a beautiful piece of property that's a complete mess right now that could be a jewel.
Right.
And I'm sick and tired of Weymouth beating us in fields. So I want
Thank you. Anybody else want to come up? Come on up. Just state your name for the record too, please.
My name is Suzanne Brothers. My family and I have lived in the Watson Park neighborhood for 20 years. And we're heavy users of the park, from the playground to the ball fields to the walking trails and more. Parking and traffic issues aside, we're happy to see the park being used. A well-loved park is much better than one that sits idle. And I'm here tonight because I have a few questions that I would like to make sure we address as we consider changes to Watson Park. I know this is just the beginning of the process and we're just in the design phase, but as someone advised me recently, sometimes the best time to get these questions in is right in the beginning as we're starting to do the design and plan phase. First, I'd like to know that we're carefully evaluating how the park, that is the proposed fields, and the additional hard surface parking lot will impact the flooding mitigation project that will likely start this coming spring. The project to protect the park from flooding, as you know, is already years in the making. I was down at the park this summer with the Conservation Commission and the coastal scientists from the Woods Hole group, and the group that drew up the plans. And all of us who attended the presentation were impressed by the amount of work and the detail that went into protecting our park and neighborhood. The flood mitigation plans take into account site elevations, grade of the fields, parking lot runoff, and other elements based on the park in its current state. If we change the fields and the parking lot, what does that mean for flood protection? How do the two projects work together? Is a proposed design firm aware of the upcoming changes to Watson Park? What's their timeline? How will they draw up their plans for a site that is changing? And so on. These are the types of questions that I'm asking the council understands before we make decisions regarding the next phase of this project.
Okay, did you get all that?
I didn't get her last name.
What, do you have all of that written out?
I do.
If you'll give it to Sue, we'll put it into our record and then get it to the mayor's office as well.
Okay.
Is your contact information on that?
I'll send it to you by email. It's easier.
Does anybody from the mayor's office want to address any of these questions? Thank you so much.
I do have more to say. Should I?
Oh, well, no, go ahead, proceed, and then we're, sorry.
Should I go?
Nope, go right ahead. Okay. You have the floor.
Second, I ask this in solidarity with the neighbors who have to put out their own traffic cones to keep visitors from blocking their driveways. How carefully are we considering parking solutions other than adding more hard surface to the park? For example, we have a large parking lot located near Smith Beach. It's a short, pretty walk through the trail from Smith Beach to the fields at Watson. For comparison, think about how far you might walk across the parking lot to your seat at Gillette Stadium, and it's a lot less scenic. Could we make use of the lot we already have, in combination with other measures such as public education, parking enforcement, better signage, etc., as well as making sure we have enough accessible parking spaces rather than trading Green Park for Macadam? This is a primary green space we have in our neighborhood. Let's come up with a way to address our concerns about parking and traffic that doesn't involve putting up more parking lot. I have 2 more points, if I may.
Absolutely.
Number 3, how will changes impact the vegetation management plan and other uses of toxic chemicals at the park during installation and for longer-term maintenance? Can we make a greater commitment to organic practices or integrated pest management? I've noticed a lot of non-selective herbicide use such as glyphosate, as well as pre-emergent herbicides, whole strips of vegetation all around the park being sprayed. Left dead, eventually it breaks off, leaves behind bare dirt. I'm not concerned about looks. What I'm concerned about is that there's credible evidence that these chemicals are linked to threats to human health. Our kids play in this space, and we also know that these chemicals threaten keystone species in our environment, species that are already at risk right here in our own town right now. As we make changes to the field, it's a great time to change how we're going to be managing the space, keeping the fields in good shape and healthy for our players, other users of the park, and our neighbors. And that's also ecologically responsible, especially given the park's location near a waterway. And finally, I ask that you please keep our neighborhood informed. Park means different things to different people: sports fields, green space, playground, splash pad, walking trails. It's a key part of our neighborhood. That's why I always say I live in the Watson Park neighborhood. It's where I identify with my family. Thank you for listening. Thanks to all the people who work hard to keep our green spaces in Braintree.
Thank you. Now, does the mayor's office want to address this? One way you can be informed of things that are going to be on our agenda is we do have an email distribution list, right, for our agendas? If you want to leave your email on your document, and we'll put all that information into our minutes and then get you on a distribution list so you are apprised of future meetings. Okay?
Thank you very much. I didn't catch your name, but I do appreciate the incredibly thoughtful comments and commitment to the neighborhood, so please don't leave without getting my card so that you have my information as well. The first item was with regards to flood control in the area, and I think it's quite timely that the second item we have on the agenda this evening is an appropriation for the shoreline stabilization and flood control project at Watson Park. And we have with us this evening our resident expert, Kelly PHELAN, I mentioned earlier, our conservation planner, who can speak to a lot of the flood control measures that are going to be implemented as a result of that project that I hope will address some of your concerns and help alleviate some of the issues that you raised. As for the parking, I don't know what the specific plan is for the parking. I know that right now we have a parking lot that has about 40 spaces that's supposed to service 5 different fields, and there is a significant shortage. So we're looking at a minimum to make a more effective use of the space. But I don't take your concerns lightly that we make sure to maximize that and not just create more asphalt to provide for more parking. We do also have with us this evening our town engineer, John Thompson. So I believe that John also probably heard your concerns with regards to the parking. I think we have all the right folks in the room tonight to hear and kind of be mindful of those issues that were raised tonight as we move forward in the plan, because you're absolutely right. The time to get in and raise the issues is at the beginning. For the vegetative management plan and keeping the neighborhood informed, I think for the first, again, we would look to our resident expert, Kelly PHELAN, to make sure those issues are addressed and our natural habitats are preserved. And then we'll make sure through the mayor's office that we keep the neighborhood and the residents informed as we make progress on this project and we move forward through the design phase and into the subsequent phases of the project. So I hope that I have answered to some degree some of those concerns, if not pointed us towards the right people who can answer with more specificity and make sure that you get the information that you need as the project moves forward. So again, thank you very much for taking the time tonight.
President.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public want to speak on this? Okay, Councilor Baraka, go ahead.
I was just going to add, and thank you so much, Ms. Brothers, for your comment. We did discuss some of this at the Ways and Means Committee as well. And one of the things that I found noteworthy with the proposal that was before us, and the documents are in the public record, is and the name of the design firm is escaping me. Sorry, Steve. Has in their plan several community meetings built into their proposal. So I think that is crucial to that neighborhood. I know Councilor Connors is on the phone. I don't want to speak to her because she represents that district, but that is in the documents you can access online as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other councilor wish to speak on this? No. Chief of Staff TAUB, I just have one question on the committee that's formed. Is it the mayor's intent to keep this committee just for this project or to continue the same members into the future?
Madam President, if I may ask Steve Leary to answer that question on behalf of the committee.
Certainly. Mr. Leary.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to clarify, so this committee was put together specifically for baseball. As we look at other fields, we'll look to the experts, coaches, towards those leagues that we will bring in for different committees.
Okay, great. So you answered my second question, because I did know baseball was represented here, and as we're talking the other sports, you're going to bring in other members from various organizations throughout the town.
That's
right?
correct.
All right,
yes.
Excellent. Great, okay. That's all I was looking for. Thank you. Okay, any further questions? Anybody else from the public? Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Somino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Baraka.
Yes.
Councilor Connors.
Councilor Connors. She said aye.
Councilor
Sorry,
Flaherty.
wasn't on speaker.
Yes. Councilor Hume.
Aye.
Councilor Mackin. Councilor O'Brien, to close the public hearing, thank you. Councilor Ringus.
Aye.
Councilor Ryan.
Aye.
Councilor Sasha. 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Now, Councilor Ringus, is there a motion on order 21043?
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 44B of the general laws and with the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee, the appropriation of $90,000 from the CPA Open Space and Recreation Fund for improvement design services at Hollis Field and Watson Park located off Washington Street, Assessors Map 2022 Plot 1, and Gordon Road, Assessors Map 3001 Plot 1B respectively. Said fund shall be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee, the Director of Planning and Community Development, and the Recreation and Community Events Coordinator.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus.
Second.
Second by Councilor Berica. Thank you. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Berica?
Yes.
Councilor Connors?
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty?
Yes.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin?
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien?
Aye.
Councilor Ringus?
Aye.
Councilor Ryan?
Aye.
Councilor Sasha?
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you to all the committee members, too, who served on this. Moving on to item 21044, Mayor CPA appropriation. The request for appropriation, the shoreline stabilization and flood control project at Watson Park, or take up any action relative thereto. This is a public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on order 21044?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Berica. Clerk Somino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Berica?
Yes.
Councilor Connors?
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty?
Yes.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin?
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien?
Aye.
Councilor Ringus?
Aye.
Councilor Ryan?
Aye.
Councilor Sasha?
Yes.
That
9 in
is
favor, 0
unanimous.
opposed.
Thank you. And now I will refer to Councilor Berica, the Chairwoman on Ways and Means, for your recommendation to the full council. Councilor Berica.
Thank you very much, President Hume. The Ways and Means Committee met last week. We are sending this to the full council with a unanimous favorable recommendation. This is an important climate resiliency project, and I also want to make sure it's noted, and probably should have said this with the last appropriation as well, this is coming out of our Community Preservation Act funds, not out of our general fund. So these monies are set aside specifically for recreation and green space, community housing, and historic preservation. So just so that residents are aware, that's where this amount of funding is coming from. This project, also noteworthy, is a more than $1 million undertaking. However, thanks to the hard work and scrupulous efforts of our conservation planner, Kelly PHELAN, we are only being asked to fund less than 1/3 of that total cost. So again, this is a climate resiliency measure, and it's estimated it will help preserve Watson Park for another 50 years, which will buy us time to determine how best to deal with the impending sea level rise.
Great, thank you. Anyone from the mayor's office wish to speak on this matter?
Thank you very much, Madam President. As was indicated, this is a request for $300,000 out of the unreserved fund of the Community Preservation Act monies, and it is a match to a grant that we received thanks to the hard work of Ms. PHELAN in the amount of $772,580. Again, in the Watson Park area, it's going to serve to protect the park from the impacts of erosion and flooding that we hope will take us into the next 50 years. And with that, if there are any questions, I will, with great pleasure, defer those to Ms. PHELAN.
Ms. Phelan, come on up.
Good evening,
Welcome.
councilors. Do you have questions, or do you want, I think you've gotten a pretty good overview, but I can...
Anybody have any questions specific to Ms. Phelan? No? Go ahead, if you have any comments, we'll...
Yeah. Just, the project restores salt marsh, stabilizes the eroding bank, and builds a flood protection berm to protect the park from sea level rise, and not from sea level rise, but from storm surge associated with sea level rise for the next several decades. At some point, we expect the daily high tide will, at some point we can't build the berm any higher, but that point is hopefully, a good 50 years down the road. So we have several decades to work through these issues and start to think about the long term of the park. And we're ready to go out to bid if we receive this funding. We have grant funding in place. This is the match, so we'll go out to bid and construct the project in the spring.
Excellent, great.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments from the council? Any questions, comments from the public? No? Seeing none. Okay, thank you both. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Baraka.
Yes.
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councilor Hume.
Aye.
Councilor Mackin.
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councilor Ringus.
Aye.
Councilor Ryan.
Aye.
Councilor Sasha.
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you. That is unanimous. Moving on to the motion. Councilor Ringus.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that in accordance with the provisions of MGL Chapter 44B and with the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee, the appropriation of $300,000 from the unreserved fund for the shoreline stabilization and flood control project at Watson Park located off Gordon Road, Assessors Map 3001, Plot 1B. Said fund shall be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee and the Director of Planning and Community Development.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Baraka.
Yes.
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councilor Hume.
Aye.
Councilor Mackin. Councilor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councilor Ringus.
Aye.
Councilor Ryan.
Aye.
Councilor Sasha.
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you. Moving on to item 21045, National Grid Petition 274 Walnut Street, or take up any action relative thereto. I will refer to Councilor Ryan, who is the chairman of the Committee of the Department of Public Works, for a recommendation to the full council.
Chairman Ryan could not be here tonight, so I'm going to read the...
Is he doing it?
He's not going to, Councilor Flaherty is going to do the recommendation.
Go ahead. Yep. Thank you, Councilor Flaherty.
The Committee on the Department of Public Works met last week. This section of Walnut Street is not under the moratorium. The street was last resurfaced by overlay in 2012. The committee sends this to the full council with unanimous favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the committee? Seeing none, is there a motion? Councilor Ringus.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that under 21045 that we extend the 2-inch plastic main on Walnut Street 50 feet to service 274 Walnut Street, Braintree, installing approximately 40 feet of 1-inch service to the point of entry with staff recommendations.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Baraka. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Baraka.
Yes.
Councilor Connors.
Councilor Connors.
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty.
Yes.
Councilor Hume.
Aye.
Councilor Mackin.
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien.
Aye.
Councilor Ringus.
Aye.
Councilor Ryan.
Aye.
Councilor Sasha.
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Thank you. And item 21046, National Grid Petition, Granite Street, Forbes Road, or take up any action relative thereto. This has been withdrawn by National Grid, so we are not taking this up. Item 21048, Mayor, appointment of Thomas Kent to the Planning Board, or take up any action relative thereto. I will refer to Councilor Baraka, the chairwoman of the Committee on Ways and Means, for your recommendation to the full council.
Thank you very much, President Hume. Ways and Means Committee met last week, and we are sending Mr. Kent's nomination to the full council with a unanimous favorable recommendation. Mr. Kent is currently a non-voting member of the Planning Board, and this is to make him a voting member of the Planning Board.
Thank you, Councilor Baraka. Anybody from the mayor's office wish to speak on this?
Good evening again. Thank you, everybody. We are very thrilled to be able to have an opportunity to recommend the appointment of Mr. Kent to a permanent member of the Planning Board. He has served as an alternate since January of 2021, and in that time has been an active and thoughtful participant and offered great insight and contribution at all of the meetings in which he's participated in. Would note that Mr. Kent is here with us this evening, as is Director Santucci Razzi, who has, I know, enjoyed working with Mr. Kent since he's joined the board, and I'm confident that he will continue to add value in his role as a permanent member.
Thank you. Mr. Kent, do you want to come up and say a few words? Or? Bless you. Welcome.
Thank you. Yes, happy to be here. I've lived in the town for 40 years, and I've known the mayor for 30 of those years, and asked how I could help in the town, and he thought planning board would be the way to go, so I'm happy to serve.
Thank you. Well, all of us did receive a copy of your resume. I don't know if anybody has any questions, comments. You were before us with your interim appointment before, so we thank you for your service and your willingness to step up, and I think you're a great addition to the planning board with your background and all of your skills that you bring to the town, so thank you so much.
Okay.
With that, is there a motion? Councilor Ringus.
Yes, Madam President, I would move that upon the request of His Honor the Mayor of the Town of Braintree, through the Braintree Town Council, in accordance with Section 3-3 of the Charter of the Town of Braintree, approve the appointment of Thomas Kent to the Planning Board as a member.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Berica. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Berica?
Yes.
Councilor Connors?
Councilor Connors?
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty?
Yes.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin?
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien?
Aye.
Councilor Ringus?
Aye.
Councilor Ryan?
Aye.
Councilor Sasha?
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to referrals to the Committee on Ways and Means. Councilor Ringus.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move to refer to the Committee on Ways and Means 21050, Mayor Appointment, Historical Commission, or take up any action relative there. 21051, Mayor Appointment, Planning Board, Associate Member, or take up any action relative there. 2 and 21052, Mayor Appointment, the Conservation Commission, or take up any action relative there too.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Berica. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Berica?
Yes.
Councilor Connors?
Councilor Connors?
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty?
Yes.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin?
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien?
No.
Councilor Ringus?
Aye.
Councilor Ryan?
Aye.
Councilor Sasha?
Yes.
8 in favor, 1 opposed.
Okay, moving on to referrals to the Committee on Ordinance and Rules. Councilor Ringus.
I would move to refer to the Committee on Ordinance and Rules 03121, Councilor Mackin, Municipal Oversight Committee, or take up any action relative thereto.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Berica. Clerk Semino, roll call vote, please.
Councilor Berica?
Yes.
Councilor Connors?
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty?
Yes.
Okay.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin?
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien?
Aye.
Councilor Ringus?
Aye.
Councilor Ryan?
Aye.
Councilor Sasha? 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That is unanimous. And with that, it concludes our meeting. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, October 19th at 7:30 p.m. Want to thank, as always, BCAM, Wes Ray, Bill, and Jerry, and the entire crew for bringing us into your homes and giving you access to local government. So thank you all. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Councilor Ringus, seconded by Councilor Berica. Clerk Semino, a roll call vote, please.
Councilor Berica?
Yes.
Councilor Connors?
Aye.
Councilor Flaherty?
Yes.
Councilor Hume?
Aye.
Councilor Mackin?
Aye.
Councilor O'Brien?
Aye.
Councilor Ringus?
Aye.
Councilor Ryan?
Aye.
Councilor Sasha?
Yes.
That's 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
And with that, we are adjourned. Good night, everybody.